Hello everyone, it's Jen. Welcome back to another project for Not Too Shabby. Today I'm creating two cards featuring stamp sets from the fall release from Not Too Shabby. So we have the You, Me, and Pumpkin Spice stamp, and I'm going to be using the squirrels and some of the other elements. The fall gnomes, I'm going to use the sentiment banner, which I love, and one of the sentiments. And then pumpkin spice everything, I'm going to use the warm hug sentiments on my card. So here's a close-up of card number 1. I'm going to create a Slimline Shaker card today, and I'm using these Slimline dies from Trinity stamps. So I cut out the scallop border just with some white heavyweight cardstock, and then I'm going to create my shaker portion of the card here using the, I believe I used the medium-sized stitch slimline die, and then the tri-square cut apart piece here, all from the same die set. And I'm using some Nina Desert Storm cardstock for that. Love bringing in the craft cardstock for fall cards. I'm going to go ahead and start creating my shaker element here. I'm going to add some 1/4 inch score tape here. This happens to be from scrapbook.com. And I'm just going to add this all around the outer portion of my panel here, as well as in between those squares. Once I do that, I can go ahead and I can add some acetate. I use overhead projector sheets. So this is clear. I just have the backing paper on it. It just helps me see a little bit easier. So these are really economical. You can get them on Amazon, and I have them linked below, as well as everything else I'm using today. So I can go ahead, trim that down, and then get my shaker canals ready here. I'm just using my powder tool to kind of get rid of some of that stick from my foam tape. I'm going to add some of the Trinity Stamps coffee bean heart sprinkles, and then some sprinkles or sequins from my stash as well. And then add another piece of that overhead projector. So what I love about this particular product is it's so inexpensive. It's easy just to add one to the front of your shakers and to the back, and then you don't have to struggle with getting placement if you have open shaker pockets. So here's the shaker bit put together. Now I thought about adding some Distress Oxide on the insides of those little squares, but I liked the contrast of the bright white with that craft cardstock, so I decided to just leave it as is. But I think the speckled egg, the newest Distress Oxide color, would look really pretty if you wanted to add some color to those squares. So I've gone ahead and colored up all my images. I spent a few nights during the week after work coloring up a lot of the images from the stamp set, and I used my Ohuhu brush tip alcohol markers for this. In some upcoming videos, I will try my best to share some of the coloring, but there was just too many for these two cards, and so I thought I would take the time to focus on the card making process for today. So as you can see, I'm going to build 3 clusters of images around my square openings for my shaker card. So for the bottom, I have the little squirrel here, and I'm using the larger coffee mug. That one is from the same stamp set, the You, Me, and the Pumpkin Spice. And I just decided to have the teal flower to the back of that. I wanted to bring that brighter teal color into all 3 of my square shaker panels here, or elements. So I have the teal pumpkin for the center image. Love this, and I'm in love, like I said, with that banner from the Fall Gnomes stamp set. And the sentiment I'm here from you is also from the Gnomes. So I'm just adding this down, and I added the little acorns to the back of that sentiment in front of that beautiful pumpkin arrangement, and then adding the little sunflower image as well over top of the banner. For the top little cluster of images, I'm going to use the white pumpkin and one of the other squirrels. There's two really cute squirrels in this stamp set. And for my teal, I decided to color the squirrel's scarf in that color, so it brings that teal now all the way from the bottom to the top. It just helps create cohesiveness with the card. So adding a leaf here to the bottom of the pumpkin as well as an acorn. And then I can go ahead and adhere my squirrel down. So I also tried to balance the card by having the sentiment with that pumpkin arrangement to the center of the square. And then for the top one, you can see there I have the images arranged to the left, and on the bottom the images arranged to the right. And I think that just creates a nice balance that really draws your eye throughout these long, skinny, slimline cards. So for the final images, I'm going to add a couple leaves falling down my card here, and then I can go ahead and add some final touches. So of course I'm bringing out my white gel pen, one of my favorite craft tools or supplies that I just can't really live without. And then I will use the black glaze pen for the eyes of the squirrel. If you're not familiar with the glaze pen, it just gives a raised effect and it really pops out the eyes and the noses on your critters or on your little people images. You can see here the difference. I also did their noses as well, and it just really pops their features on their face. I'm also going to add some of that glaze pen to the dots already on the sunflower image, and then use my glitter brush here, my Nouveau Shimmer pen, to add a little bit of glitter, and then bringing in glossy accents just to add some shine to the acorns and some of the other elements on my card. Just wanted to make sure I added some of that to the coffee as well. And there is the completed Slimline Shaker card. I absolutely love how this card turned out. So moving on to card number 2, I'm going to create an A2 size card. I was dying to play with my new brick stencil from Fawn. So I have a piece of light gray cardstock here, and I'm using some Distress Oxide ink in Pumice stone. I'm just going to add the ink to various areas on this card. I wanted a really soft, kind of whimsical look to this brick wall. So I thought about doing a cloudy sky background for this, but I thought it would be fun to have it look like they were outside of a building, just kind of hanging out. So that was where I went with the brick wall. And you can see here I have some of the areas on that panel not even having any of the brick stencil, and I really like that look. So for my grass, I just grabbed some green cardstock in my stash. I'm using Distress Oxide in Forest Moss here just to add some, adding that ink really kind of pops up your cardstock and adds some interest and definition. So I'm going to use the banner die again from the Fall Gnomes, and this time stamping the Warm Hugs sentiment. So I did stamp that a couple times with my Versafine Clair Nocturne ink. And once I have that done, that's ready for my card. So I'm going to add my grass hill here to the bottom of my card panel. And once I have that on, then I can go ahead and start putting this scene together. So I knew that I wanted to have my sentiment banner to the top there. I colored up 2 of the pumpkins in white. For some reason, I was really drawn to coloring white pumpkins for this particular stamp set. So I just used some of my warm gray markers to color up those white pumpkins, and I love how they turned out. I did tuck the one to the left underneath the little grassy border, and that grassy border die is a Heffy Doodle die. For the one on the right, I thought I was going to pop it behind the grass border as well, but decided to have it kind of up almost above it. And then I will have some of the fall images in front of it. So I'm going to use the 2 acorns here and the sunflower again. I absolutely love this sunflower image. And you could color it up as any type of flower, but my favorite fall flower is definitely the sunflower, so I took advantage of that. I also wanted to have the sunflower on either side of the banner. So for the left one, I had the leaf facing upwards, and then for the right one, I had it facing towards the bottom of the card. And it just changes up that image just ever so slightly, but making it look like it's almost 2 separate stamps. So just going to fiddle around here with placement of my leaves and acorn to the left side of my card. So I'm going to have the yellow behind the green leaf, and I'm wanting to pull that yellow from the sunflowers onto that left-hand side of the card. And then I'm going to add a single acorn in front of that. I will also go ahead and here I'm going to adhere down the images to the right hand side, and then decided that I wanted to pop up my squirrels on some foam tape. So you'll see I'll add some foam tape here in a second to them, and that just gives a little bit of dimension and allows the squirrels to stand out a little bit from all our fall foliage, our leaves, the flowers, and the nuts. I'm just going to trim off some of that foam tape that's showing, and then I'm going to take off the release paper from the back. Now I'm not going to stick these down securely right away. I want to make sure that I get placement first. I am going to add the little yellow coffee mug to the hand of the squirrel on the right. So I kind of imagined they were out gathering all of their nuts for the winter, and the one little squirrel is bringing his or her friend a nice warm mug of something sweet, perhaps, maybe hot chocolate or coffee. But that was the inspiration for my scene. So I just want to make sure I adhere down the sentiment at this point, and then I'm going to add some leaves falling across the top of the card just to fill out some of that blank space. So I'm going to add this orange one underneath the banner, and I'm going to have that uppermost side of that leaf coming over top of the banner. And then I'm going to add another one of these maple leaves. This one is more in a brown shade to the top, and then finally a green one here to the left hand side. And I am going to have those images coming off of the card panel, and that just helps create a sense that there's more going on in the scene than what you're actually seeing. I felt like there was too much green space down here at the bottom, so I added a double acorn to the right hand side of that squirrel, and I think that filled out the card perfectly. So as a final touch, I'm going to add some of the Trinity Stamps Coffee Bean Hearts to my card. I had them on my desk, and so I thought I would go ahead and add them to this card as well. Just using my little embellishment tray here from Twiddler's Nook, which I love. And I will adhere these on using some of my liquid adhesive and my jewel picker. So this has a sticky end to it and just helps pick up all of those embellishments when you want to go ahead and glue them down. So for this card, I already had my white and black gel pen detailing done. I'm just going to add some glossy accents here. Again, mostly to the acorns and the center of the sunflowers, and then I had a couple straggler images here of the leaves that I hadn't done my gel pen yet, so I'm just grabbing one off my desk and adding those highlights. Can't forget the little acorns as well. So here is a look at the completed 2 cards today from the Not Too Shabby fall release. Don't forget you can use coupon code N2S10 to save 10% off your purchase. So run on over and grab these adorable stamp sets. I will see you all soon. Thanks so much for all of your kind comments. You guys brighten my day. Every time I put a video out, I just love reading your comments. So thanks everyone. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.